Hello and welcome everybody. We are back here for round 3 with the list that you see on screen. We are currently 2-0, so we're hopefully going to seize this 3-0 lead. That would be fantastic. Regardless of the results, of course, you'll be seeing this as there is much to be gained, learning and entertainment and all of that good stuff. And if you do find yourself enjoying this video or learning something from this video, then go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. But for now, let's just jump straight into the match. All right, we have our match. Let's jump on in here and get this started, huh? That is if our opponent decides to join the match as well. All right, looks like we are good to go here. There we are. And we're on the play. Fantastic. Playing against Dub. And we have a hand that is a land away from Titan mana, and also lacking a Titan, but we have a couple grazers, which are going to be good if our opponent is on a aggressive strategy here. We get a turn 2 Azusa as well, and we don't even have to take the damage, since we can just play Cavernous Holes Naming Beast. So I think we can't afford to mulligan this. We still need to find a few things, but I think that finding those things should be relatively easy here. So our opponent mulligans to 6. I feel like the more our opponent mulligans, they mulligan to 5, as I say that, the more our opponent mulligans, the better our hand becomes, because we're only lacking a few things, and the more our opponent mulligans, the more likely we are to find the things that we need under a smaller amount of pressure than if our opponent had kept a 7-card hand, obviously. So mulliganing is good for a hand like this, at least our opponent mulliganing, I should say. Let's get our Gruul Turf into play here. It'll be slightly worse if we... Actually, you know, we probably could have done the Valakut and then shocked and breeding pool this upcoming turn to play Azusa and kept our Gruul Turf in hand for amulet purposes, but... Dryad, okay. I think we probably want to get that one in play over our Azusa. Actually, maybe not. We can get full value from our Azusa by playing it this turn. We still can't actually cast a Primeval Titan this upcoming turn, even if we draw it, so we can always just play Dryad this upcoming turn. So yeah, let's just get our Azusa value here, I suppose. We'll just name Human, I suppose, for our Cavern. Our opponent playing a tap Sacred Foundry is pretty unlikely to be countering our Dryad. I suppose they could be playing a Jeskai deck with, like, Cleansing Wildfire and the like. What? Our opponent scoops to Azusa. Interesting. Okay. Well, I think our opponent is either on some sort of red-white aggressive deck like Burn, or perhaps they're on like a red-white Blood Moon type deck. Not really sure. It might be more likely that they're playing Blood Moons, so they would try to scoop and hide that information from us. I don't know, though. That's just a really weird sequence from our opponent. Let's bring in the Rex Sage, as this is going to be good against either of those decks. Force of Vigor, maybe, maybe not. I like to hedge against their aggressiveness potentially by bringing in an explosives here. And maybe that's it. We could bring in Dismembers, not sold. We could bring in Beast Within, but I'm not sold on that either. Let's just trim some Explorers here. And actually, I find it unlikely we need this Pact of Negation against either deck, so let's trim that. And the same with the Bajuka Bog. We could do this. We're down to 29 lands plus 2 turn timbers, but that's probably fine. Yeah, let's just run it back this way. Alright, we have a hand with an amulet. Yeah, this hand's obviously fantastic, so... And we can even summon his pack for a Reclamation Sage if our opponent does have Blood Moon, so... Looking pretty good here. Inspiring Vantage, okay. And a pass. Curious stuff. Do we lead on the forest here and expose it to some kind of effect that could destroy a forest, like a pillage? I don't think that's really necessary. Let's gain our 2 life off of the Radiant Fountain here. Our opponent doesn't need to know that we have a forest. That's privileged information. Of course, we'll be deploying a Dryad this upcoming turn. Oh, Cascading Cliffs? Cataracts? So we are playing its Land Destruction effect. I guess it's a very good thing that we didn't play this forest out. We could get a Dryad into play this turn by packing for a Grazer, but for obvious reasons that doesn't seem great. I'm going to play out our Cavern, naming Giant. Again, we don't want to expose our forest if our opponent has another Boom Bust or a Pillage or something. And if they don't interact with our land drop this turn, then we can cast a Dryad this upcoming turn, regardless. So, Molten Rain. Okay, well, we'll take some damage, but I mean, obviously this is not great for us, but all right, now we have to run out the forest, sadly. Maybe our opponent is out of land destruction effects. Pillage. Clearly I was wrong. There's a Grazer, so we can actually get our Dryad into play this turn. So this is fine. It's not amazing, but it's fine. Yeah, we can yield to this Amulet until we draw a second copy. All right, Grazer. Gruul Turf. And now we can get our Dryad into play. That's a good step to winning here. And we'll pass it back. Just yielding here. Let's hope our opponent does not find a Blood Moon, if they even play it. What did they just do? They ousted our Dryad. Rude. Okay, well, land. And pass it back. Our opponent isn't clocking us yet, and they don't have a Blood Moon, so... I mean, we're surprisingly not looking like we're in terrible shape here. We got boomed. There's a Dryad. I mean, we're not doing anything this turn, I guess, so let's just pass it back. This is kind of an awkward situation to be in. Drawing a card with their Canyon here. Garenbrig. Sure. Our opponent has to run out of land destruction effects eventually, right? Right? Tell me it's true. Please, I need this. Yeah? I mean, our opponent still isn't killing us. Another Amulet. That one is actually pretty insane. Not even gonna lie. That is a very good draw. We're gonna need to stop our yields to Amulet of Vigor here, so let's get rid of this. We'll float. Pick up the Gruul Turf. Play an Amulet. I don't think there's a reason to summon his pack now. I suppose we could pack for a Grazer, put in Gruul Turf, play Dryad, go up to 5 mana, right? Hold on. So 4 down to 1, Dryad, 4 again, up to 5. We'd have to summon his pack twice to get our Titan into play this turn. So I suppose then, though, we could get 2 land drops, being a land and a bounce land, leaving just the bounce land in play, cast a second Titan, haste both Titans. Is that worth it? Let's see, we haste both Titans off of Hanweir plus Valakut, and that's leaving 4 mana in play. And then we attack with both Titans and get 4 more lands. As long as none of them bounce, then we can survive this turn. Let me make sure I'm thinking this line out correctly. So pack for Grazer, play it, make 4 mana. Use 1 floating... Oh, wait, no. Use 3 floating 1 to play Dryad, play Gruul Turf again. That's 5 mana. Pack for a second Grazer. Do we have a second Grazer? Okay, we have all the Grazers. Right? So pack for a second Grazer. Go down to 4 mana to play it. No, wait, no. Yeah, 5 mana. Go down to 4 mana, go up to 8 mana, play Titan, search for bounce land and something else, leaving the bounce land in play. Play second Titan, Hanweir, and Valakut. That's going to be 4 mana, and then attack with those. Yeah, I think we can do this turn. I think it's worth it. We'll die to a Blood Moon, but we're already dying to a Blood Moon, in case you haven't noticed. So, Let's just 5 to make sure absolutely for certain we're not getting blown out by our amulet triggers here. Dryad. This is kind of tense, actually. Second Summoner's Pact for the turn with 0 lands in play. Love it. Grazer. Gruul Turf. Might as well float the mana twice anyways. Primeval Titan. Actually, we can get 2 lands here instead of a bounce land and something else. I guess a bounce land and a Tolaria West is probably going to be the best line, though. We could just get double Forest. That way we can... Oh, we only have 3 forests, so we can't play around Blood Moon regardless. Oh, but we could use a Vesuva to copy a forest. So yeah, double Forest here lets us make Titan mana and still haste, and then be able to play around Blood Moon as well. So that's what I'm going to go for. Yes. Alright, so we'll get Snow Forest and our regular forest if I can find it. Oh, wait, no. Wait. I think one of our forests was blown up already, right? So we can't play around Blood Moon regardless. So let's just set up a Tolaria West. So Tolaria West and Simic. Untap. Untap. Float, float. Untap. Untap. We'll float with just the T-West. And then pick up the T-West. Titan. Always yield. Yes. And now we haste both off of Valakut and Hanweir. This is a crazy turn. Alright, we'll float the red, and then haste our first Titan. Untap, untap. Float the red, and haste our second Titan. Go to combat. Attack with everything. You can get in there too, Grazer. Alright, so we'll search for this one. So if we get Valakut and Vesuva, I guess we would lose potentially to playing around to Path to Exile, which our opponent hasn't yet had a window to cast. I guess they would have pathed one of our Titans, perhaps, when we attacked. I don't know. So Vesuva copying Valakut. Oh, wait, we don't have another Valakut. So we'd have 2 Valakuts, and then our second trigger would get 2 lands, and that would be 2 Valakuts times 2 lands entering is 4 total triggers, times 3 damage is 12. Plus our 2 Titans attacking would be lethal, assuming our opponent doesn't have Path. If they do have Path, so we get Valakut and a Tolaria West. No, Valakut and a Breeding Pool off the first trigger. The second trigger we get... That would be 4 mana. Then we get 2 more lands, and we can still transmute for another Summoner's Pact, Pact 4, and cast Dryad and play our Gruul Turf if they do have a Path. So I think we do have lethal here. As long as we play this correctly. Let's not pay the 2 life, obviously. My opponent said in the chat, so much math. I agree, opponent. Trust me, I agree. Yes, of course. So here we just get 2 lands and try not to bounce anything. So let's get Basic Forest and Basic Forest. We still have double blue to transmute Tolaria West if they do have a path. So yeah, let's do that. We'll save targets these Valakuts upstairs, stack these amulets. We don't care about the order. We get to auto-stack these Valakut triggers. Always yes. Always yes. Always yield. Alright, this is all getting fine. Just untap these things. Okay, and this should be lethal. And so, for those of you who are wondering why I spent so much time thinking about that, if our opponent had their very last card as Path to Exile to hit our Dryad, we'd only be hitting them for 12, which would not be enough to kill them. So then, in our second main phase, we would, with our 6 mana, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So we would be able to float with Growth Chamber, Breeding Pool, and the Valakuts leaving a green floating, transmute Talari West for another Summoner's Pact. Summoner's Pact for a Dryad, play it off of the 3 remaining mana, and then play Gruul Turf for the last points of damage with the Valakuts. I do believe. 12, that would have been 13... Wait, 12 plus 2 more Valakut triggers. That would only have been 18, actually. So that's too short, but... Anyways, it doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter. So, let's just go ahead and return to details here. Whew! We are currently 3-0, 6-0. Man, this is starting to feel like a crazy run. Maybe we can end up 5-0, 10-0. I'm not going to put that pressure on myself, but it feels great to be back on a huge winning streak after my small stint of playing something other than Amulet. Coming back to it, I mean, of course, Amulet is always going to be Amulet, so yeah, I don't have much else to say about that. Let me know if you learned anything from this match other than just watching me confusedly go through some math in my head and trying to figure out triggers and all that stuff. And the best part about it was at the end there, if our opponent did not find a Blood Moon or a Land Destruction effect, I think that we were still live to pay for both of our Summoners Packs anyways. So, oh boy. Oh boy. Anyways, I will see you guys for the next match. Match 4 is Redface Menace, signing off.